Hey everybody, welcome to Unscripted Access. I am Bronson Fiore, your host this week because Nick has work things. Joined by Anthony Ta.
Hello.
How you doing, Anthony?
Well, I'm kind of sleep deprived. It's Wednesday. And I have been extremely productive today, which is very strange considering that, Final Fantasy XIV servers are not online right now. Strange coincidence, don't you think?
Good timing, I will say. I know that we got a lot of news that we need to cover in a short amount of time, plus something that you and I were discussing that we saw on Facebook that irritated us. So let's get cracking. I'm going to go small to big. Sonic Lost World is getting Zelda crossover DLC. The Legend of Zelda Zone, a free stage, will be available through the eShop starting March 27th. It will feature Skyward Sword, art, and levels and whatnot.
Oh. Okay. That's interesting. Can I just say the sheer weirdness that is Nintendo crossovers with, Sonic Lost Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Frickin', if you said this to people 20 years ago, they would have a heart attack.
Just lies and slander.
That's like saying hey, Master Chief will be featured in Killzone. Something like that.
That'd be weird. Oh my god.
Like, you say that so today, weird. Everyone's like, you're retarded. That's never gonna happen. But that's what they would tell us if we told them this was gonna happen 20 years ago.
That'd be like the most violent Halo game ever. Because Killzone games just get so violent. It's like, oh yeah, Master Chief just like totally crushed
for a
that
moment
guy's
I
head.
almost said, oh, that makes Master Chief resistant. No, that's worse. I was gonna say resistance.
So, we are not going to PAX East this year. Maybe PAX Prime. We're hoping. But turns out that Nintendo and Sony will not be attending PAX East for the first time ever. Which, I don't know, what's your opinion on this?
I'd say it's disappointing, but at the same time, E3 is about just over 2 months away.
Yeah.
And I understand
what would they have to show? Like, I mean...
That's another good question, too, because it's like, first off, you got more important things to worry about, like, how are you going to make the world's most... Like, in Nintendo's case, I can't... Well, Nintendo's case is different. But in Sony's case, E3 is happening in about just over 2 months. You don't really have much to show right now because Infamous just came out. So you're going to spend a lot of time trying to come up with the most awesome E3 show because that is what generates the big headlines. It makes sense. As for Nintendo, I really do think they literally have nothing to show. It's been a month since Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it's been a month since Donkey Kong, which is an amazing game. If you have a Wii U, you should absolutely go buy it. And then they have the Bayonetta and Mario Kart demos, which were at PAX Prime and E3. So, I mean, I guess they could bring those again, and then maybe... Is there anything coming out on DS soon? We don't know.
I've kind of stopped paying attention to games coming out on 3DS.
I mean,
but I haven't heard anything big profile since Bravely Default.
I mean, Yoshi's New Island came out, which that's
that came out, and it turns out to be quite disappointing.
Well,
which for you, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah, because Yoshi's Island was garbage. The first one. Oh my god. Fucking horrible game that just like the fact that it was called Super Mario World 2 just makes it even worse.
Well, at least be thankful that in this case they didn't call it Super Mario 3D Land 2 Yoshi's Island.
Oh god, I just vomited in my mouth. Oh god.
Hey, it didn't happen, okay? At least I didn't say that before the game came out, and I didn't give them any ideas.
I mean, they got that they could actually probably demo. They have Mario Golf, which comes out in early May, Kirby Triple Deluxe, which also comes out in early May, and then if they ever decide to bring it to America, that second Theater Rhythm, which they should.
I want a second Theater Rhythm. It's gonna have more music in it.
Well, and
Lots more.
it's
And a
out in
lot more characters,
Japan.
too. And they're going to bring some stuff in from Kingdom Hearts, too, I think.
It's out in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't. But yeah, but the problem is that every time we always get to games like this, it always becomes the problem. So how well did the last one sell? I'd say the last one did okay.
But I bought the last one.
I bought the last one also, and I played it a huge amount. I freaking like. Let me put it this way: it has given me a much bigger appreciation for the music of Final Fantasy. So, yeah.
Fuck, man, like. If you own a 3DS, go buy Theater Rhythm. I remember when Cammy was the one who reviewed that for us back when she was a staff member. I think Jenny, who commented this week, hi Jenny, was the one who she also really liked it. And yeah, if you own a 3DS, go buy Theater Rhythm. It's awesome. It's one of the best games for the fucking system.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
While we're on the topic of Final Fantasy, I would like to throw in a retarded advert because I am totally paid off by Square Enix and Final Fantasy XIV development team. Hey, Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn original soundtrack just came out today, March 26th. For $50, you can get the soundtrack Blu-ray music disc.
Everyone, this is not a Final Fantasy fan site. I know that we have
that list. But we keep making it happen as if it were. Like, I remember, like, that one week, the last week of February, I think. It just happened that I finished my Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn review, but also the weekend before that, we had just filmed Lightning Returns.
And Kyrie, to top it all off, did an episode of her show on Lightning Returns.
And then we got to Final Fantasy X.
2 weeks later, Final Fantasy X. Yeah. So...
Actually, to be honest, though, it's probably a good year for people who are big fans of Final Fantasy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for that 1 week period, because we weren't running Super Mega Gospel Playtime, it really did look like a Final Fantasy fan page, which is Lightning Returns and a review on 14.
Also, we are going to be... So I'm trying to get in contact with him, but that nerdcore artist I talked to you about I talked with and told you about at A Day of Games. I talked to him recently, and we're going to be doing an interview with him soon, probably on a weekend night.
Okay.
Which you all should look forward to because his music was actually really cool. Moving forward but back to the original topic. This is a bummer, like, as someone who goes to PAX and, like, gets excited to play those demos. But on the other hand, there's so much shit to see at PAX.
Granted, this is PAX East, so it's not like the signature PAX event, but it's still pretty big.
So PAX East is fucking huge. Like, if
never mind.
Like, PAX East it's when it comes to people, it's actually bigger because their convention center is bigger and can fit more people. And, like, I mean, you just look at this schedule. Like, just, it's nuts. League of Legends panel, Blood Bowl tournament, Warhammer tournament, Heroes of the Storm. Oh, my God.
Would you say it's a lot better than GDC, where they had a panel for how to reduce backlash?
I would say...
When I heard that via the Jimquisition, my brain... was like, oh wow. And obviously, much like how that video went out, it was like, yeah, here's a great way to reduce fucking backlash. Don't fucking do it. Don't make stupid decisions.
Look, I'm looking at...
Look, we talk about reducing backlash mainly because we are in the journalism industry, and because the journalism industry is very opinionated, of course there's going to be the one time that we write something that's going to piss a lot of people off. Maybe then is how to have personal mechanisms on how to reduce the effects of backlash on your mental health. Maybe that would make sense. But if you're a company and you are at a panel to how to reduce backlash, that something tells me that you know you're going to piss people off, but you just need to figure out ways to make it less annoying. Like, this is kind of the panel that the developers of Diablo 3 and Mass Effect 3 probably went to after having their entire fan bases blow up in their face back in the day. Like, really? Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
you were saying?
I I mean, I just look at an event like even for PAX East, which everyone, I don't know why it's considered the lesser PAX event. There's a lot of shit that goes on at PAX East that I'm like, I wish that was at Prime.
It's not the Prime. Prime. The big one.
Okay.
I think it's like in the name, and not to mention the Penny Arcade guys are from the Seattle area, so that kind of just
and the Seattle
headquarters.
area.
It's like PAX headquarters.
And also, the Seattle area has just way more game developers in it than Boston. Like, Boston is a big area for game development, but, like, Seattle is the biggest city for game development in America. So,
yeah, that has a lot to do with it, too.
But, I mean, just look at, like, there's literal... Every time I think of both times I've been to PAX, and I look at the schedules for PAXs, and I'm like, look, even with these two major companies not being there is going to be plenty to do and see. I'm sorry. Like every time I go to PAX, I love it. I love it to death. It's the best weekend of the year. But also, I never get to do everything I want to do.
They did add the Labor Day now.
But
the only problem is that now you're going to even be more exhausted when it's over, and the hangover got worse.
Like, Sunday is going to be like, first off, the hangover will be worse because instead of being like 2 weeks long, it'll be like a month long. And also, you are just going to be like, I'm already tired Sunday. Like 7 o'clock Sunday, I'm already like pounding caffeine to stay awake during the closing ceremonies. So like, oh my god, adding another day to Prime. It sounds amazing, but it also sounds just like this horrible fucking nightmare. But like I was saying, like, you know, but also Nintendo and Sony might not be there, but Blizzard will be. They're going to be showing off Warlords of Draenor, the new Diablo expansion, which literally just came out this week, and Heroes of the Storm, which I have seen alpha footage of, and we'll talk about it more on the raid when we get time to do the raid, but I want that game so bad. I want it so bad.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be free to play because you need some way for this game to stick, right?
It's free to play. Also, I got to see Arthas riding a rainbow unicorn. I was so sold at that point. You have no idea how hard that sold me. You have, like, Arthas riding a rainbow unicorn fighting Diablo. I
think I need to buy you one of those, a poster with that on it one day.
If
it's gonna be the weirdest thing ever, but hey.
You're gonna have to commission Bob to do it. You know, he's one of the big artists in the area. Just like, Bob, this is gonna sound really weird to draw, but yeah.
I need you to draw Arthas with Frostmourne riding a mount. And not just any mount, not the dragon, not Cindergrosa or anything, a flaming rainbow unicorn. Go.
While he fights Diablo.
Actually, speaking of commissioning art, I always kind of thought that because you know, I do believe like elections in our local area is happening again this fall.
Yes,
and we started seeing political signs about, and it's about 2 years ago, I joked with the idea that since all politics is when they try to talk to average people via TV or radio is nothing but attack ads, I always kind of thought, gee, it's kind of like choosing between Diablo or Deathwing to be your next public official. So, which was it going to be? Who's less evil?
Well, we already talked about how Deathwing personally visits each citizen of Azeroth, and we cannot talk about Warcraft right now. I am sorry, I cannot fall back down that hole. No,
it's bad. Like you've gone to rehab.
I have gone through rehab. My tools for rehab are Forza 5. Like, I have a lot of tools for rehab right now because of the new system in the house. Killer Instinct, Forza 5, and Titanfall. And then even if I relapse a little bit, I have Infamous, Final Fantasy, and Metal Gear.
Okay, well, it would make me feel a lot better if you could just read that, look through that awesome art book I got you a couple months ago.
Book you got me. Every time I look at...
Actually, that was an even worse time in your life back then.
Oh, God.
So, maybe that made things a bit worse, and I kind of feel bad about it, but,
even if I don't pass evaluation, I still have my job at Moondog, thankfully, but holy shit, like... Oh my God! Like if I don't pass valuation and I start playing Warcraft again, that is the video game equivalent of a relapse. That is like the video game equivalent of like, oh man, I've been clean off heroin for two
Yeah,
whole months now.
for me, I don't fall back into the MMO hole as easily because there's basically one thing an MMO just needs to do to make me not care as much.
Hmm.
Be dry on endgame content. I mean, eventually I'm gonna run out of things to
So
do, and
so
then I'll
that's why
stop. That's
no,
for
that's
me.
why
That's pretty easy because when I'm
no
bored, I
motherfucker,
don't want
that's
to
why
play.
Mists of Pandaria is evil, even more
Then I am
evil.
glad that I am so poorly equipped in that game that I didn't even touch anything at
No,
the end.
no, no. Oh my God!
And even
Right?
though they reintroduced that island, I was still bored, so I never went back.
Oh my God! So
I
here's
have moved on.
here's the thing. They implemented this thing called the legendary quest line, where you try and get this. It's a ridiculous cape. It is going to be better than capes that you're probably getting up to level 96. And it's legendary cape, and it is. And normally you were supposed to play this expansion like a sane person and be continuously play it, but no, I'm just catching up all of the legendary quest line all in this last patch. It's just like, oh my God, there's so much to do. I'm literally going to be doing this crap up to Warlords of Draenor. Anyway, that's all for the raid.
Yes, stay tuned. We keep talking about how we're gonna do it, but we never do it.
Well, are you free tomorrow?
No.
Because my evenings are open all week.
Tomorrow's not the right day.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll figure out a time to get the raid in this week. Back to what we were talking about. But Blizzard's gonna be there. They're gonna be showing all that stuff. They're gonna be showing off Hearthstone on iPad and phones. Also, Hearthstone just went free to play and out of beta, so you should go play it because man, that game is fun. It is a really really fun card game, and if you have a WoW account, if you win 3 games against the computer or against an actual person, you get a really kick-ass mount. So, anyway, moving forward, Game Boy Advance games are coming to Wii U.
I thought we already knew that.
It is hitting. Let's see. The first Game Boy Advance title is hitting the Wii U Virtual Console in Europe next week, and it is Advanced Wars.
Okay, I feel like I've heard of that game before.
It's a really good strategy game for the GBA. I hate strategy games, so I'm not really a fan, but you know. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this during our last time. Everyone who's going to PAX East, have a blast. Go say hi to our ex-staff members, Emily and Cammy, because they will be there. You know. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, let's keep talking here. We got. So, I don't know. It's cool that Game Boy Advance games are finally hitting the store. I'd rather have them hit the 3DS store.
It makes a lot more sense to go into the 3DS because the Game Boy Advance is a portable system, so wouldn't it make sense that you can put it on the portable 3DS, which already has some Game Boy Advance games if you were crazy enough to pay $250 back in the day? I mean, it's capable of running Game Boy Advance game, but it's been like, what, 3 years now, and they still... 3 years? 2.5 years. I'm going to say 2.5 years, and they still haven't put a single Game Boy Advance game out on it yet. Except
it's going on 3 years. There'll be 3 years in August. So yeah.
So it's 2.5 years at this point now.
I mean, like, as a person who was part of the ambassador program, thank you, Nintendo, for like being like, man, this thing's gonna have really great games on it, but we don't have them yet. So sorry, everyone who bought it early. That's a lot better gift than that Microsoft is giving people who are buying bought an Xbox One at launch. Because I mean, Xbox One right now, if you buy one, you get Forza or Titanfall, which are arguably the 2 best games for it.
Actually, to be honest, if you're an early adopter, that's the price you always pay when you buy something early. You don't get free things down the line.
The thing is, it never really bothers me unless A, the price is huge difference, or, because typically, like if they said PS4s are now $300 starting next month, it wouldn't bother me because I'm like, hey, I got to play Infamous at launch, I got to play Killzone, I got to play all these games early, I got a bunch of PlayStation Plus games that you weren't getting. You know what? Fuck it. It was worth the $100. Those 6 months of entertainment were worth the $100. You know, like that was my logic. You know. Now, had Nintendo not done the ambassador program, I would have been pretty pissed. It's
Let's be
like
honest, though. You were actually pretty pissed at the 3DS at that time. Like you and I were actually. I was thinking, like you were mentioning the idea of my possibly buying your 3DS.
yeah, and what saved it was Street Pass. Oddly enough, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
and actually, like a year down the line, you probably would have regretted selling it too.
oh, I would have been
Because
so mad.
freaking last year, I bought like 5 or 6 3DS games,
Which
is more than I have ever bought for any portable system I've ever owned in a single year.
I own what was it? I own 6 3D full-fledged 3DS games, but I rent a lot of them though. So like because I don't consider a lot of them worth buying, or I do. It's just like I haven't bought Animal Crossing yet. Like it was didn't have the money for it at the time.
Hey, there's another form of drugs right there, everybody. Animal Crossing.
Oh God! All right, we gotta talk about those kind of games, like because I'm actually playing one of those right now. It's Final Fantasy X. Oh my God, so long and so good.
Well, that's not really Animal Crossing, but I'm just talking about like the Animal Crossing thing. It's like, you want this really nice TV? You want it? Well, you gotta work for it. Like freaking, like I've said it in my review. It was like the game's really kind of boring. I can't play it for more than 30 minutes at a time. Because there isn't much to do. You just pick up flowers, sell seashells, and you just do the same thing 30 minutes at a time. You're bored. But the catch is, you're doing it all the time. You may only be playing it 30 minutes at a time, but you'll just be back in the next hour. Because your seashells will come back. Or you got new bugs to catch. Or maybe you can't wait for that cafe to open. Or that new floor in the museum.
Or it's a new holiday event. Oh my God. I remember
you want to see the fireworks? Well, you better sign on at 7 p.m.
I remember when I had the DS version, and I was 16, and it's like, oh, the new blank event is happening. Guys, I gotta get my DS out. Yeah, like just, and then I thought I'm just like, what is wrong with me?
See, a normal MMO usually does things by giving you, like, say, something really shiny, right, that you can show off and gives you better numbers. So people envy you or something like that. In Animal Crossing, it's a different approach. Basically, it's just something really, really simple, like, and you just kind of question yourself, like, I am this obsessed over finding some new paint for my house, or I'm this obsessed over trying to get a basement. A freaking basement. And then you want your basement to be bigger, and then you want a second floor to your house, and then you decided that, oh, maybe I need a new roof. It's like, oh my goodness. Well, to be honest, so you're partly motivated because you have a giant debt to pay all the freaking time. And if you don't have a debt, you are somehow compulsed to find a way to get back into debt. You know? Like I said, second floor. Anyways, yeah, that's Animal Crossing.
So, moving forward, the Project Spark beta is currently going on for the Xbox One. And what that is, it's kind of like create your own world, create your own game type thing. Think like Little Big Planet, but like full 3D worlds. Well, they made a Linkin Park. Like Linkin Park made a music video that if you run through it, it's like the perfect music video for their new song, Guilty All the Same.
Wow.
It's really cool. I know Penny Arcade was talking about it recently. They did a whole Thornwatch thing with it. If you have an Xbox One, definitely look into Project Spark. It's really cool. Like if you're into stuff like Little Big Planet or user creation, it is probably going to be one of the better games of the year if you like that kind of stuff. So yeah, Titanfall DLC has been priced.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
The first DLC pack will cost $10.
Okay, that seems pretty normal. What does it come with?
They haven't said it's gonna be a bunch of maps, and also have some new modes which will be added free of charge.
Okay.
So yeah, cool. Not a bad price at all. I was expecting EA to just go crazy. Um, but apparently that's not how they want to roll for this. So good on them. Uh, moving forward. So they so recently Steam has released a free documentary to watch about MOBAs and competitive Dota players. It is called Free to Play, and you can download it on Steam.
Well, that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, I started watching it a little bit yesterday. I really enjoyed it. It's a really good movie. I kind of had a movie binge yesterday where I watched The Wolf of Wall Street and which was absolutely fantastic, great movie. And then I also watched what else did I watch? Uh, I also watched this the free to play documentary. So
Gaming
I don't know.
documentary, gaming documentaries are somehow starting to pop up lately.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
Last
that.
of Us
Like,
one bopped up for free.
yeah, like
So
there was the Last of Us one. There was one on about the dude who made Gran Turismo.
that one was
And
interesting.
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, a documentary on, you said, professional MOBA players.
Hmm.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Sorry. Something. Sorry, my stuff cut
It's
off.
on professional MOBA players.
Yeah, mainly Dota, but
Well, yeah, of course
obviously,
it's Dota. You think Valve is gonna walk over to Riot Games and say, "Hey, can we talk to you, somebody, your professional play?" No. You think they're gonna do that?
yeah. So I don't know, but still, it's pretty
That's
interesting.
gonna be pretty interesting though, because let's be honest. Like, I have never. I have.
We should totally do 60-minute access of this. It's at like 138-minute access of it.
Wait,
I
why?
don't know. It'd be look.
Wait, what game now?
Not a game of the movie of free to play.
Uh,
Hey, it's free to watch on the internet.
but
And
you're not playing, interacting with the movie.
but we are
Like,
commentating on it, which I believe is legal. I don't
oh wow.
know.
But yeah,
We need
I don't know, but
if
yeah, it's just,
if anything, we could do what the guys over at Brain Scratch Comms do, where we release the audio of us commentating on it, just like press play at the same time you run the movie.
and you better hope
We-
that thing doesn't buffer because of your insufficient internet connection.
Hey man, I did it for Pokemon Origin. I listened to their commentary while playing that. That was really neat. Anyway, we got more news. I don't know. MOBAs are great. I love the idea behind a MOBA, but it's very similar to Dark Souls, where I'm just not willing to take the time to learn it.
Yeah, like, let me put it this way. So last year I didn't have many games to play over the summer because summer droughts are very natural. So it makes perfect sense for me to start playing MOBAs. Which was partly a very bad idea because the league has one of the worst communities I have ever seen in my life. And in the 3 months that I played League of Legends, I still really, really suck at it. And for you to even be good at that game, not only do you have to invest a huge amount of time, but you have to freaking go through your patch notes every single time they put out a new patch. Because, about a couple months ago, I went into the patch notes, and one of the characters I played all the time in League was Kale. And one of the things I always did was run a ability power Kale, which was very devastating if you can get it right and things go the right way. And then in the patch they changed that, so now you have to change the way you play the game. So it's just a lot of work, a lot of work, and thinking and strategizing and working with people. It is so much work that people like me and Bryson can't really play it intensely.
Dude, if
at all.
I was in high school again, man, Dota 2. would have
I
been
mean, the
my
PC
crack.
just seems like the perfect place for you to lose your soul. You just sell your soul to Gaben or whoever, what other PC lords you can think of, and you sell your soul at the altar of MMOs, MOBAs, Civ 5, and RTSs.
Yeah.
There you go. And there's a lot to pick from. In the MMO pile, you've got Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Guild Wars 2, Star Wars: The Old Republic, and
DC
the RTS
Universe.
pile, DC Universe. In the RTS pile, you've got StarCraft and Age of Empires, if you still play that, and Star Wars: Empire at War. In the Civ 5 pile, you've got Civ 5, because that game's evil. Yeah. Perfect place to lose your soul.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm talking about like single games that you could play forever.
Oh yeah.
Like Dota and League, you could play it forever. Like I freaking played League for like 3 months. MMOs, that's self-explanatory.
It's so great. Like I listen to the Bombcast every week during downtime at work or or just when on the bus or just relaxing at home. And I love how every week they get to what you guys been playing, and Brad's always like, he says what he's been playing, and he's like, oh yeah, and Dota 2. And he's been saying that shit for months.
For me, we already know what that is. So, yeah. I mean, frickin'... And this brings up to my next point. It's just like, we have always kind of heard the argument that people say PC gaming is not good value because of how expensive the cost of building such a system is. But at the same time, PC gaming, as far as games go, are really good value if you could just look a little bit. Like, freaking Steam sales happen all the time, so you can get relatively new games for dirt cheap. You've got good free-to-play games, Dota, League, and then you've got MMOs. And people say, oh, with MMOs it's so expensive. That's because you're probably assuming that an MMO is like a phone contract where you're forced to pay, you're forced to commit for 2 years, but you don't. With an MMO, let's just say, oh, I'm really tired or I got really busy. I don't have to pay for a subscription, and it's not like I'm going to lose my character. It'll always be there in most cases, and when I'm ready to come back, then I start paying again. It's not like a phone contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And not to mention, you are not forced to keep paying for an MMO. Like if you bought like Warlords of Draenor or you bought Final Fantasy 14 or Realm Reborn, they give you a free month. And and to be honest, and if you are hooked into it, you think about it, $15 per month. That is already a quarter of the price of a brand new $60 game before tax. And if you spend more than 10 hours a week playing it, that's 40 hours of game time for $15 a month.
I mean, and you're going to spend that in those games.
Like, I bought Mass Effect 3 for $60, and I've only played it for maybe 40 hours total, ever.
I mean, yeah, and then, but look, if we're going to have the value argument, it's just like, yeah, but how much of my time in World of Warcraft is spent, or, in Final Fantasy 14 or any MMO, is spent doing shit that sucks.
Or doing the same thing over and over again.
Yes. It goes back to that Penny Arcade shirt where it's just like, or that Penny Arcade comic is just like, what do I do next? Do that again for 8 years.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel. But for some reason, it isn't as bad because.
No, it doesn't feel that way. Like it doesn't.
Because in something like Oblivion, you know exactly what you're going to get when it's over. I'm gonna get this exact item when it's all said and done. Whereas in MMO, it's kind of like they pull off that bullshit luck drop. Well, the old days at least, the stupid roll dice drop bullshit. So yeah.
There was
moving on. We're not going back.
There was a literal test for this that they used on rats. I forgot what it was called, but I remember that we studied this, in which it was what it was is they got rats and they had the rat press the buzzer and a treat would come out and would do it every time, and the rat would enjoy the treat. But then another rat would hit the fucking button, and then sometimes nothing would come out. Sometimes a treat would come out. And when the treat came out, the rat was way more stoked than the rats who was just getting a treat every time.
To be honest, that is kind of like an analogy in life, if I'm honest.
It's an
Now
analogy of
there are two
gambling.
extremes.
This
There
was like
is
a gambling study in the '60s, by the way.
yeah,
So
like freaking. It's like there are like two extremes. First off, there's the one where you always win, which is kind of like going to your water fountain and expecting water to come out. So, oh, yay, water at a water fountain always works. And then there's the other extreme, which is the lottery, where you're always throwing your shit at it and nothing happens. Which literally, I feel like state lotteries are so dumb sometimes because it's like, yeah, if you can somehow win the $10 million jackpot, but you are competing against like hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of other people who have tried to do the same thing.
And why is it that every person who wins the lottery is always just like the most poor? They have like 1 million kids and they live in a trailer. Like it's never like a middle class white guy or like a middle class person in general or lower middle class. It's always someone who is like super poor, like
super poor or has a rather interesting profession. Like I remember this one lottery, probably somewhere in the South, about a truck driver winning it, something like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But then again, when you're middle class, you probably don't chuck $100 at the lottery every month.
That's true. Like I remember we'd go to California, right? And my dad would pick up a couple tickets every time, and we'd never win. But like I think about it, I'm just like, man, why does fate, and these people don't buy that many tickets, like they buy like 5 or 10, like why does fate favor that person and not that person? Like why is it every time that I turn on and see a lottery winner, they're like, I'm gonna go buy a house for my baby mama, and me and my 12 kids are gonna go all move out of our trailer in a big old house.
You know, when you said a house, I suddenly immediately started thinking that 30 for 30 episode on ESPN about broke athletes and how the first thing they do when they're rich is to buy their mom a house. To be honest, that's apparently a lot of dudes, apparently, right there.
I'm gonna be honest. If I got mega rich really quick, I would buy my mom a house.
I probably would too. For some reason, that's like one of the first thing that comes up on almost every dude's mind when they think of, if you had a huge amount of money, what were you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna buy my mom a house and make sure she's well off first. Yeah, that's like the first thing. No one ever thinks of the dad, unfortunately.
Well,
which sucks for us because if we have children, if we had sons who won the lottery or got super rich through, athleticism or business and stuff, we are not going to get a nice house because the first thing they say is, "I'm going to buy my mom a nice house."
Well, no, you'll hopefully you'll still live with their mother. So
chances are that one of us is going to be divorced, so we're not going to get the house because we do live in a country where half of marriages do end in divorce.
Anthony, we already know my luck is bad. Like, I don't think it. Anyway, we'll get to that discussion later. But hopefully, you would live with them, so it's like, oh yeah, I'm not buying my mom a house, and it's like, oh yeah, well my dad lives with my mom, Or in a lot of the cases, a lot of those professional athletes just like they don't have dads. Like I remember Shannon Sharp didn't have a dad, and like his mom was away for so long. So during his Hall of Fame speech, he's like, he's like, Mom, like, what do you want me to get you, Grandma? He's just like a house where when it rains super hard, and it won't get wet on the inside. And that was one of the most touching stories I've ever heard in my entire life, and B, so incredibly sad that people have to go through that shit. I am broke. I am broke, mainly due to my own fault. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the time. But on the other end of that, I know how to. I'm not broke to the point of where oh yeah, I live in a house down south where when it rains, we have to put pots on the floor. So the leaks and shit, that's. Thankfully, that's not I don't live that life, and it sucks for people who do. I feel so bad. I'm just especially because a bunch of houses in this country are just empty houses. They're just empty. There's nothing in them. There's just what? What's the house do there? Oh yeah, we can't rent it, so it's just
buy a house for the price of a VCR.
I wouldn't say that, but
I'm sorry. I just kind of felt like I had to reference that Cleveland video.
Yeah, but no, like I think it's just like as someone who worked for a house rental company with my grandfather, and like I'm just like for these really poor ass people who can only pay like $300 a month, like instead of not renting that house, rent it to them. You're making some kind of profit on it at least, and they are getting a house. Yeah, like that is my ultimate logic with this. Like that's how my grandfather thought of it. It's just like, well, I'm not gonna get 450 for that downstairs basement, but I'm getting 350, so I'll rent it for 350, and at least someone's not on the street. Like I think we as humans need to care for each other a little better. Like we are the only species that is this awful to each other. It's kind of horrible. Anyway, off the tangent. Uh, okay, so we got one last piece of news, then that discussion that you and I were gonna have. Uh, so a Turkish speaker through IGN says that The Last of Us is so a NeoGAF user via Chadskin, Serkan Sulan, PlayStation's Eurasian software market manager, says that while sequel of Last of Us may not be forthcoming anytime soon, the first game will be released this summer for PS4, both with physical and digital copy with enhanced graphics. Uh, if true, and it appears it is, Sula is a high-ranking member of Sony, has been with the company since August 2012. This would be a huge win for PS4 gamers hungry for some first-party content other than Infamous or MLB The Show. And or no other AAA party games have been announced for PlayStation 4's 2014 calendar. Let's see. Okay, so it won our Game of the Year, one IGN's Game of the Year, and one Game Trailer's Game of the Year. It just look. We all know how brilliant The Last of Us is. It dominated Game of the Year awards, and it ended up selling over 6 million copies. So it's looking like it and the DLC are coming to PS4 with prettier graphics and a better frame rate.
Okay.
Those thoughts? Cool, I guess, is my thought to that also. I'm down. I am down with a prettier Last of Us, even though I didn't really think it was possible at the time. So this next part I'm going to intro with someone on Facebook.
Well, there's maybe one or two big news story I want to cover.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, the Facebook thing.
Right.
Holy shit.
So
yes.
Facebook has bought the guys who make Oculus Rift for $2 billion.
$2 billion.
And some people are not very happy about this, like the guy who makes Minecraft. Originally, he was going to make a Oculus Rift version, so of Minecraft, which would be kind of cool, actually. He's canceled the project completely. He's like, nope, I do not feel okay with Facebook. Oculus Rift, Minecraft with Oculus Rift is off. But the general response is a lot of question marks flying in the air. Like, you think Oculus Rift is being talked about like gaming. Like I talked about last week that, you know, it's like the coolest thing for like 5 minutes. If I could see the Mass Effect world through Oculus Rift, I would be completely blown away for 5 minutes, and then I proceeded to rant on about how everyone would get sick afterwards if they tried to play a shooter with it. But Facebook's not exactly Facebook and games. That like, if you think Facebook and games, the only thing you ever thought of was the Farmville stupidity from like 3 years ago. But what could Facebook do with Oculus Rift?
Candy Crush, Oculus Rift. You can almost taste the candy. That's how real it looks.
I mean, if Oculus Rift becomes like the next big thing and they sell like hundreds of millions of these things, then yeah, Facebook is going to make a huge amount of money out of it. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of like that one time when Amazon bought Double Helix Games, the guys who made the new reboot of Killer Instinct, and it was like,
and Strider. They also made the reboot of Strider.
Yeah, and that was also kind of a bit of a confusing moment for me too, because it's like Amazon is a gigantic retailer. I mean, I know they have the Kindle tablets and stuff like that, the Kindle Fires, but I still don't get what they would need out of it. It's like EA buying a power plant company. It just kind of does. It's like they do totally different things, and it just seems confusing.
Yeah.
It's just.
I don't know. Look. There are worse companies that could get a hold of this technology. Personally, I don't really care about Facebook or the Oculus Rift. So when this happened, I kind of just was like, "Huh, okay," and went about my day.
Yeah, like I don't know. Oculus Rift, I don't know about it. Facebook by Oculus just makes me even more confused. Yeah.
All right,
So I guess we're gonna need to keep an eye on that. Like, actually, back when Facebook bought Instagram, that actually kind of made some sense.
yeah.
No idea. So the next big story I have is completely mind-boggling. So hey, for all of you who thought and agreed with us that the NVIDIA GeForce Titan is ridiculously expensive and you could just get a 780 Ti, guess what? They just came out with another Titan. This time it's called the Titan Z. And what does it have? It's got 2 Titan chips on the same board, like same PCB board kind of stuff. So you get a dual GPU video card, and it will cost you $3,000. That is more expensive than this high performance computer I have. It's more expensive than all the stuff I bought for it, including the i5 and i7 processors.
It is more expensive than the performance PCs that I'm currently selling for my job.
It's more expensive than a Falcon Northwest TLX 15.6-inch screen laptop.
It's more expensive. So the current computer I'm selling has I want to say it's a 770. No, it has a 780 in it, 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte hard drive, a solid state drive. It's basically the dream machine, right? Like if you want something that's just going to haul ass on games for the next 7 years, this is it. And we're selling it for $2,600. So this one graphics card costs more than our entire machine. That's awesome. That's great.
Like,
cannot wait to go talk to Jeff about that. Like, hey, have you heard about this new part?
I mean,
great.
I mean, you just look at it. Now, they say that the Titan Z is for 5K gaming, which completely makes the back of my brain just go, have we even reached 5K gaming yet? Can you even buy a 5K TV or computer monitor? And like, frickin', this kind of power isn't even needed for like, I'm thinking another 3 or 4 years. And wow, it's unbelievable. Here's some other numbers too. Do you need 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory? 12 gigabytes. That's more than most. That is more memory than most regular PCs out there, which normally have 8.
Mine has 16. How much does yours have? I want to say it's 16 also.
Yeah, mine also has 16. Yeah, so... but my laptop has 8, and 8 is a good amount of memory, and this video card has more video memory than the system memory in my laptop. This thing just screams excessiveness. And you know what? I could kind of see why they're doing this. I mean, it's kind of like I always go back to the analogy of supercars. Why the hell does anybody want to buy a Lamborghini or a Bugatti when you can't even go drive 200 miles an hour? And all it is just to show off. This is probably what NVIDIA is kind of doing it for the ultimate bragging rights. We've got the ultimate video card. We are the undisputed consumer graphics card king, is what I feel like they're saying with this.
We are woman, hear us roar. Okay, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Freaking, if you thought Titan was dumb, they just came up with another way to just, like, they say that, I remember the quote from Zia. I believe he said something like, if you ever needed the world's most powerful supercomputer under your desk, here you go. And I'm just like, well, it's a good thing that only maybe 5 people ever needed supercomputing power under their desk.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, like, no, you wanna know what I need under my desk? A case and play games. That's what I need. I don't need much more than that.
Like I said, 5K gaming, and I'm just like, we haven't even gotten 4K to work decently yet, and you're talking about 5K. Not to mention, is there a game that can support 5K without blowing up?
I mean, I know Alex runs Bioshock in almost 4K.
Yeah, but it's like,
Uh,
oh my goodness,
um,
just unbelievable.
I really need to catch up on the.
As a piece of engineering, like if you're like a computer hardware engineer, or you're just a person who's really into tech and likes to highly appreciate good engineering, this thing is gonna blow your mind away. You're gonna think it's like the greatest thing ever. But as far as being actually practical,
It's not.
yeah, it's not very practical. I mean, I don't even know how long this video card is, but it's really big. And
I would imagine.
yeah, well, yeah, it has to be very big. Okay, yeah, that's basically it.
Great. So. Real quick,
I love this line here. This is a serious card built for serious gamers. I'm sorry, I don't believe serious gamers can afford this damn thing without financing.
Yeah, like
that's like saying car enthusiasts can only. That's like saying in order to qualify as a serious car enthusiast, you have to buy a really expensive car. When really, I just want to drive a really cool cheap car.
I'm adding this up in my head.
Now,
this thing costs. Hold on. This thing costs more than my laptop, my Wii U, my PS4, and my Xbox One put together.
You remember that ridiculous PC that we tried to build back in the day? Like, yeah, that dual 6 cores Intel CPUs.
Yes.
4-way SLI. And I believe we got the price up to about $13,000, which was enough to buy a brand new small car. Imagine 3 or 4-way SLI with a Titan Z.
You would never.
You have to work in a neurocortical brain simulator lab to need these things.
You would never need to upgrade your computer ever again. Like, just ever.
But you would need to upgrade your computer because there will be something as fast as a Titan Z but uses a lot less electricity, and you don't want to set your house on fire because you're using too much electricity.
God, could you imagine how much electricity 3 of those in a machine would burn? My God.
I mean, yeah, it's like freaking. You need like more than just 1,500 watt power supplies, and I do believe that if you go like over 1,500 watts, that's enough. That's like enough power through the plug that the circuit breaker in your house could trip. So your house could stop you from enjoying it.
So the last thing that we wanted to talk about was we saw a discussion happen on Facebook. We're not going to say whose Facebook, what Facebook, but it was on Facebook, where someone said, started really just like, man, people who play video games all day really piss me off because I suck and don't enjoy fun. Was me paraphrasing, obviously. But that was the general gist of it. And it's just like, why would you get so excited over this? I'll go help people grow up from a productive person.
Yeah. From my understanding, she was very tired of people constantly talking about games and listing games they were excited for, and then proceeded to rant a bit about how hang on, sorry, got interrupted there.
That's cool. So
okay, what was I saying now? Okay, so I'm gonna have to start over on this. So basically, she was very tired of people constantly talking about games and what games are excited, and proceeded to rant a bit, saying how these people who talk about games all the time are not doing anything productive, and when they should be going out helping poor people, helping sick people, and
we should
cure cancer, stuff like that.
Yep. Anthony, you and I, if you and I quit this job, we'd be curing cancer. That's.
We could quit this job and devote $120,000 to commit towards medical school. Yep. I am prepared.
Yep. Fuck making video games. Fuck writing about video games. Yeah, I think if you combine both our college educations, once I'm done, we still wouldn't have enough money to go to med school. Which is kind of fucked up when you think about it.
Oh man.
Well, that depends on if I were to go out of state or not. But still,
I mean,
um,
you and I are actually kind of fortunate that we actually do live in a city and have a university and have a school of medicine here. That's good.
yeah,
Um, some schools don't though.
yeah.
So yeah.
But and of course, I was just my response to this was plenty of productive people are gamers, and I just list off a whole bunch of people I know who are gamers who are very successful and live productive lives. I listed you and myself, some of our best friends who are in the military and serve this fine country of ours. They're gamers, we have friends who are, just about to finish up their degree in goddamn neuroscience, and they're gamers. So I mean, obviously, a ton of people. Uh, what do you want, cat? Sorry, Fox apparently
Your
agrees
cat
with me.
agrees with you.
Yeah, good girl. I trained you right.
All right,
uh,
go cats.
but cats are great, dude. I was, I recently had to go to a shelter recently to go pick up one of our dogs who escaped, and I like they had the advertisements for like here are the cats you can adopt, and dear God, I can never ever go there ever again. Because if I do, I'm gonna leave with like 8 cats. I'll be like, I want to adopt you all. You're so adorable, and you all need homes, and I can love you just like I love Fox. Ugh. Anyway, back to the original discussion. Um, and a bunch of people got really upset. A bunch of gamers particularly, and then like I just kind of sided with the gamers, started playing out studies like increased brain function. I'm like, guys, that's not how you win this argument.
You
They
don't win
don't
that
care.
argument because the counter argument to that statement is okay. So if games improve brain function, how come they're not using it productively? To
Yeah.
be a military strategist. What are they using it for? Oh, to waste more time playing games. So you can't really use studies because then the argument becomes, yeah, well now their people now becoming wasted potential then, which further adds to the
Yeah, and
argument that people are wasting their lives playing games.
yeah,
So
then her argument is
that's
that
one of the things you actually have to think about when you're going to go into a debate like this is you have to consider every single argument they're going to make and come up with a counter argument, and you got to get counter arguments to your like they're going to counter your argument and you got to counter their counter argument, like stuff like that. Like just think of it like the analogy here would be a MOBA game. Like for example, you play a certain character, but you know that this certain character is going to be weak against another character, so you got to think of counters to counter their counter. So kind of same thing. I
so
think the same logic applies to debate. So anyways, yeah, there you go.
moving forward. And then her argument is like, yeah, but you guys don't spend all day on it. Da 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 da. Da. And,
Which
and,
is
and
true.
my
We
straight
like, well, we kind of
which
agree.
my straight up response is like that's true, but also not true because yeah, I worked 6 days straight in a row, and they were 8 to 10 hour days, and then I proceeded to spend the next 2.5 days being a vegetable in front of Infamous. So I mean yeah, it's true, but first off, who cares if I spend all day in front of TV? It brings me joy. Second off, there are plenty of people who are gamers who spend plenty of time playing games who have become successful and made money off of it. Professional gamers, such as the League of Legends and Dota players we were talking about earlier, uh, YouTubers, such as Two Best Friends playing PewDiePie, journalists like Jeff Gersman and ourselves, if we were doing this full time, Nick, when he was doing it full time for Bite Size, you know. So to say there's no value in that just, you know,
Okay, here's the
like
counter argument. What percentage of those people who play games excessively ever do that? Very few, right?
that
Like
would be
you
true.
and I have seen lots and lots of people play games. Do they ever get into the game industry? Only very few do. They talk about, oh man, it would be so cool if I could make a game, but then they don't put the effort to doing it because
No,
they go off and play another game. So that would be the counter argument to what you just said, though.
Anthony, I just
Which,
want to say I put my money where my mouth is. I show up to this podcast every week. I write write reviews of
I
games
know,
I
but that's you,
finish.
Bronson. How many people out there are like you who play games and do that? The number is not very high. Like you say, people go into the game industry. Well, the thing is that then, but I don't see a billion different game companies everywhere. Yes, there are many indie games, but the number of people who buy games and play games far outnumbers the number of people who make them.
But that also tells me that like there aren't like that tells me that oh man, like about a billion people, the $1 billion gaming industry, which has dwarfed every other entertainment industry. That also tells me that like a shit ton of people don't have a problem with game compulsion, and that's what she's talking about is game compulsion, or as an idiot would put it, game addiction. Uh, and I know people who have fought with game compulsion. Quinn fought with game compulsion. I could have very well fallen down that hole if my transition from in like late middle school to early high school, I I hatched out of my cocoon and became a beautiful social butterfly. But had that not happened, I totally could have walked that path. Um, it's a very easy path to walk. Um, you know, and yeah, you get what I. But then you get into the discussion like, well, yeah, but how many people play games now? Like almost every person I know plays games in some way, and
You'll
I
be
go to a path.
surprised. Like, it's
You
not
know,
like
I
gaming enthusiasts either. You'll be surprised
yeah,
the number of average people have played a game. And you don't
I
know because it's not like you don't know because you just kind of talk to them casually. You talk about, "Oh, what are your classes today?" or you talk about, "Oh, how did your job go today?" but you never really know that they've played games.
I mean, you
I
get
mean, people. I guess people kind of like. I guess we're still kind of in that point in the social part where people kind of avoid talking about it because it's like a guilty pleasure, which it
yeah.
shouldn't be. But it's still kind of treated kind of like one. But you never know who
Well,
actually has played games.
someone, just because you're a gamer, it doesn't mean you're socially impaired. Some people do have trouble balancing it, but there are tons of like we know tons of hardcore gamers who balance their social life and all and are successful adults. Like we know plenty. And I know. A perfect example of this is like I've been to PAX. I've made plenty of great friends at PAX who are obviously hardcore gamers. They go to PAX every year, and they are successful adults who just have their careers, and then they come in and they do, they go to PAX. One of them is about to get her master's degree this coming, and she's posted on Facebook actually, like in 82 days, she's gonna have her master's degree in sports medicine. Like that's
Wow.
yeah, and she's a hardcore gamer. I forgot what she cosplayed as. She fucking loves games, and I know one who is going to become the manager of a Hallmark, and I know several people who are very successful people who are hardcore gamers. To say like it's just how they enjoy their free time, and occasionally, to quote Kyle Bossman, it's like they are willing to make time for that hobby. Occasionally, and you know what? I'm gonna say that it's not bad to occasionally go goof off. Like a perfect example is like my dad. We once took a Friday off from school to go drive to Oakland to watch the Broncos play the Raiders. Like first off, I guarantee you I would not have remembered what I did in school that day. I absolutely remember the drive to Oakland, me and my dad listening to radio and joking around, and then the preceding football game 2 days later and hanging out in Oakland. The same applies to my freshman year of college. I ditched an entire day of college, my freshman year of college. Why did I do it? Because Halo Reach came out at midnight, and Quinn and I were up all night playing it. And I could not have. And you know what? I couldn't tell you what I learned on an average day in college most of the time. What I can tell you is, man, it was hilarious when Quinn jumped out of that jumped out of the trunk of the car, and B, it was even funnier when we were all singing "Fuck You" on the radio, and everyone in the car next to us is just giving everyone in our car looks like we're out of our minds. Like just fun or like Quinn got so mad, just so unbelievably mad that he kept dying that we had to go put him in timeout. You know, we had to go. We had to put a grown ass man in timeout. It was funny as hell. Um, you know, like it, and you might not put, many people might not put value on those good times and those memories, but that's what you're gonna fucking remember on your deathbed. Like, you're not gonna remember like, oh, I remember this Tuesday in college where I stayed in class and learned a theory that I proceeded to forget after the final. No, you're gonna remember like, oh yeah, I went out and did this with my friends. Like that's what you're gonna
the
remember.
argument though is just like, oh, you're just wasting your time and effort playing games where you could be doing something more important with the world, curing cancer, helping the poor, stuff like that, which is a bit of a valid point, but that could kind of be applied to any form of entertainment, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and then
it's like, I mean, you like she was also not a fan of sports, which is also another form of entertainment. Watching sports, I should say. And I just kind of thought
this goes back to my original comment when we started this. This person doesn't like fun.
I mean, that's like the thing is that if you're saying now for sports, it was for a slightly different reason, but from how I kind of understand it, if you were to apply generalization here, that means that fun is a waste of time. Fun is pointless unless your idea, now obviously, you can have fun doing really complicated things. Like, there are some people who can have fun building things, or having fun helping people, and having fun engineering things, and having fun helping get good satisfaction from saving people's lives at the hospital, stuff like that. I understand that, but but you could kind of generalize the argument to the point where it's like, you could say the same thing about books. Books don't really give me any
non
reading a book that's
books, yes.
Like non-educational, not like fictional books. I should say fictional. That makes a lot more sense. Fictional books or stuff like that. Now, I read fantasy books, which could easily be argued that, by reading Lord of the Rings or by reading World of Warcraft books, you're not learning any true value about saving the poor. So maybe I should not read books like that then. Or maybe we should stop Cartoon Network.
The comment that fucking just made me laugh my ass off. There were two of them. One was like, and this is why when we have kids, we're not allowing a game console in the house. And I'm just like, wow, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry
you guys should like ban Cartoon Network and Dora the Explorer and whatever. Also,
okay.
Ban sports. Ban any type of competition whatsoever.
Ban fun. Let's ban fun. And then I proceed to talk about how, at cons I've met people who live, perfectly normal lives, through, and play, are hardcore gamers. And then, game compulsion was brought up, and the most smart ass comment I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. I'd rather be addicted to helping people. I think I see the Peace Corps calling, and I'm just like, wow. Well, I'm so done. That was a comment that made me just be like,
wait. The comment that said, I'd rather be addicted to helping people?
To helping people. I think I see the Peace Corps calling, and I'm like, okay, wow. Like, that, first off, that was literally just a response to be like, yeah, game compulsion, but anything can be addictive if you take it far enough. That was the response. And I'm just like, wow, okay. That, I'm just like that is a response to me that just says I don't have an argument for what you are saying.
That says to
So
me, that has said to me, the argument has degraded
yeah,
from
like
like you just bring up a point of you could be psychologically addicted to
yeah,
anything, like
yeah,
food, right? Normal food. Like you could be psychologically
chocolate.
addicted. Yeah, like chocolate. You could be psychologically addicted to eating Oreos for the rest of your life. But Oreos doesn't have anything chemically that's
I
gonna
live
affect your
that life.
brain.
I live that life. I am definitely addicted to Oreos.
Yeah, but you can be psychologically addicted to stuff. So yeah, but for that kind of response, it just kind of says this argument is you cannot have a constructive argument. I mean, it's a lot like it's pretty much I kind of almost look at it kind of like an internet argument in general, really, because there comes a point when you're like I'm pretty sure anybody who's played an online game enough knows this. There comes a point where you realize that logic, no matter what type of logic you apply, no matter what you say, no matter what time dimension you visit, there is nothing that is going to change their mind. And at that point, it's probably like at that point, I personally just give up. Now, people could say, "Oh, you're going to give up with the argument? You lost the argument." Actually, it's more like I don't want to do the argument anymore because I suddenly realized that nothing I say they're ever going to listen to. We've all seen that kind of person. We see it all the time. We see it in the kind of person that tells people to get good and to just flounder and
Everybody sucks but me.
and bask in the statement of get good or get good or something like that. It's fucking dumb.
And then
Sucks to suck.
Is like,
actually, to be honest though, with her social, what's the word? Class status. I believe that's the right word. With her class status, I could see that problem happening. It could come to that if that debate went on, because she could look down and say, "I do this," whereas you, fat man, live in a shady neighborhood. Who's further in life? I'm more qualified to make statements than you are.
well,
We've met that kind. We've seen. Yeah, I somehow had the sneaking suspicion that was going to happen, because just like classism or something like that, it's going to like somehow find its way into that debate, and it didn't. At least I think it didn't. Out of like the 54 comments that I read, I didn't think it degraded that far. But I just couldn't help but think that classism was going to get into that somehow. Gamers are poor, they smell, they're fat, they wear glasses, they don't know manners, they breathe like forget like the movie Gamer, okay? The movie Gamer was absolutely terrible, and it was taking that stereotype way too far. Okay, and it was scary and creepy. Okay, like the stereotypical fat gamer who doesn't bathe, look after himself, and breathes with a slurp. That kind of thing. Like I just somehow thought that classism was going to get in the way and that kind of remark was going to be made. Yeah. Well, at least it didn't get that low.
No, and my response to something like that would be like, okay, yeah, you're farther ahead in school, but as far as jobs go, no. Then the other bit of your success, that wasn't your doing, that was your parents' doing. If we want to bring up, if we really want to go into classism here, let's go talk to my multi-millionaire grandfather. Let's go talk to him. I don't have his backing, as he believes in earning shit yourself. Which, God, did I ever draw the wrong end of the rich relative pool, right? Damn it. But no, I mean, God, it's irritating. But no, so But luckily, it did not degrade into a classism argument. Thank Christ. Um, I'm very happy that it didn't, because that is an argument that, one, it holds no ground in anything, and yeah, just God, just dumb. It would have been dumb. Is what that would have been. Thankfully, we didn't go there. But then it was brought up that, like, oh, well, how much good do gamers actually do? And my response was, yo, child's play.
That's only one charity. That's only one charity, because you're talking to is, you've got tens of millions of gamers. What good did they do so far? Tens of millions of gamers, and only like what? 10,000 of them actually made a difference? Oh.
Child's play.
But to be honest though, I feel like that's kind of like humanity in general. Like, out of the 350 million people that live in this country, how many of them actually participate in charity? Probably not many. Probably quite an alarmingly low percentage participate in charity. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Now, there is one thing that I could say, though. Games don't do anything but cause people to rot. Well, here's a very important point I want to bring up. Games are played for fun, right? Now, why do we play games for fun? Well, we play games for fun because we like competing. We play games for fun because we kind of want this very special... Like, there are many reasons why people want to play games, and it isn't just because of fun. Some people just want to play it for the story. Like, why do I love Mass Effect 1 so much? It's because of the story. It introduced me to a brand new world that probably a book couldn't visualize to me as well. Freaking, that was great. And I get to interact in this brand new world. Some games we play to compete. Online games. MOBAs, PvP and MMOs, shooters, that kind of stuff. But the other thing, too, is that we also have fun to blow off steam. Stress relief. We've had a bad day. We need something to forget about our terrible, terrible day. And for me, that's one of the big things that video games does for me, is that, when you're a college student like me, there's going to be times in college where you are just stressed so hard, and you could be stressed to the point of almost snapping, and a burnout happens, and you just want to need something to get your mind off of it, to calm down, clear up your brain, to feel fresh again. Games. Well, if you focus hard enough on the game, you're going to forget about things. It's a good stress relief, because if you play a game you like, you will have fun, you will smile, and you will feel better. Games can be a good thing. That's my personal look at it. Yes. Yes, it could be argued that, some people are playing too many games. Yes, those people do exist. Those are the kind of people who also neglect their children, kind of stuff, or die gaming 72 hours straight or something like that. But
yeah,
most people who play games don't do that. Okay? Like, when I worked at a store, when I walked into the back room, all of a sudden I see like 8-10 people just gathering around for a quick discussion about the old days of back when they played World of Warcraft, and how hard it was, and then we started talking about the future of the franchise, stuff like that. 8 random people that I never knew played games, because they looked like they look like the kind of people who study, the kind of people who don't seem interested. They rather talk about the San Francisco 49ers than video games, and here they were talking about games. And then I started talking with them. And we all had like this really cool, little social moment where we all just kind of gathered around with something that we loved, and or something that we loved or kind of liked and wanted to talk about. It was a great moment. It's great. Anyway, that's my take on it, really. Like, those news stories that they run about, this person that went crazy, or this person that died, or this person that did this terrible thing. That is, I believe, a very, very, very small minority. Okay? It's a lot like how I look at the gaming community. We kind of think of gaming communities to be big pricks, when really it is just a very vocal minority that happens to be jerks. Like, you think about it. When I go into Final Fantasy 14, there's this one instance where 24 people, the 24 people work together to get things done. And all it takes is one person to make you think the community sucks. One person, consistently, to make you think the community sucks, okay? But when you look at the bigger picture, that's only one person out of 24 people in that one moment being a jerk. Just that one person. Does that mean the community sucks, or just that one? So after looking at a bigger picture like that, kind of like, you know what, maybe the gaming community is just not that bad. Maybe it's just like the 5% that just happens to be really dumb. Yeah. But unfortunately, that 1 or 5% is what ultimately kind of defines the ultimate bad point that somehow constitutes 50% of the pros cons thing when it gets brought up. Yeah. So, yeah, I really I don't think games are evil. I really don't. I mean, sure, you could talk about how Grand Theft Auto 4 did this and all that kind of stuff, but really, though, I just think it's like a good place. I think video games are just a great place to kind of have fun, considering that, let's be honest here, by the time we're age 40, playing football is probably not a good idea for our health.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like, we can't really do sports to a really cool level like we would be in our 20s. But, you know, games gives great imagination. Games is a wonderful stress relief. Games come in so much variety that it's just unbelievable. Like, you've got everything, just about everything. Do you want your basic, fun, colorful platformer that just puts a big smile on your face? Super Mario 3D World. Do you want intense, super competitive gameplay that's guaranteed to make it really hard for you to master? If you master it, you are great. Play a MOBA. Do you want to play a game where you have great value and at the same time socialize with people? MMOs. It's just, gaming is great. There's a lot of gaming. And every now and then, obviously, something really bad's going to happen. Like, you know, Manhunt 2, when that happens, oof, man, that's probably something that should not happen. But, yeah.
So the final point that I left with this was, my life wouldn't be as good without gaming as a whole. Like, I mean, I remember, dating. I remember when my dad died. It was one of the things I used to cope. Like, I went and I played games. I played a whole crap ton of games. And then, and then in that same exact summer. I got over it because of games, and I've met some of my closest friends through games. Quinn Kressler is my closest friend, and I met him through games. You're one of my good friends. We bonded over games, and like that. I met a lot of good friends that way, and a lot of cool people that way. I started a passion that I will hopefully carry on to a career, and at minimum gain some good skills through podcasting about games and become a better speaker, and become a better problem solver. I owe a lot to games, and there's a lot of benefit from games, and to say they have no value is just a lie. Anyway, we got some emails that we gotta go through.
Yeah,
and then
but
call it a night.
I just want to continue with this a little bit more. Like you said, like for me, like I said, games could help us forget things and help us move on. Like, because you have to interact with the game, you just it helps take your mind off of things. Like for Bronson, it was getting through that difficult time when, family passed away. For me, it's stress relief. Like when you're an engineer, things get very, very, very painful. Like you get very stressed. You have projects everywhere. You want to graduate on time, but at the same time don't want to go crazy. You're burnt out, you're tired, you're getting frustrated. And, and it's kind of hard to smile at a time like that. Stress relief. Because, yeah, you can do some, stuff like that can help. Yeah. Stuff like that, meaning video games can help. They lower stress. And also, it probably helped make me less likely to get sick, because when you're stressed, you're more likely to get ill.
For sure.
Yeah, because your body's focusing more on its fight or flight response instead of keeping your immune system up, so you can get ill. You can get kind of ill. And I'm also happy to report that I haven't gotten sick in almost a year. That is new.
Lucky boy.
Of course, I say that, and next week it's gonna hit me again. But I'll still be happy because it's been a year. Normally, I get sick like every 6 months or something like that. Funny enough, around midterms.
Anyway, we got a couple questions here. Cray T says Infamous is so great, game of the year contender. I think it's a little early to say that, but it's definitely tied for my favorite game of the year with Donkey Kong. Oh no, Anthony, any thoughts on Infamous?
Opinion continues to be very positive.
All right. Jason, what's the most you guys be willing to pay for Project Morpheus? Imagine exploring Seattle and Second Son with Morpheus. Sounds pretty awesome to me.
Okay.
Not much. I don't know.
Imagine exploring Seattle and Second Son with Morpheus. That sounds pretty awesome. That's assuming that you don't get really, really, really ill from all the motion. Like I said, this thing takes up your entire field of vision. So can you imagine your brain's sheer panic attack when you leap off the Space Needle?
Oh god.
Your heart's gonna you might get my heart attack. Like your brain, remember, you don't have a frame of reference. You can't tell that you're looking at this through a TV. This is your entire vision being taken here, and graphics are reasonably real to the point where your brain could be kind of fooled. And then you gotta imagine running and swaying the camera around, and yeah.
Not a good time.
I don't know if people actually get sick from this, but I feel like they could. But I need to try it for myself and see if I get sick from it. How much am I willing to pay for it? Well, considering that they pitched this as like the next revolution in tech, I'd say maybe $100, $150 at most.
I'll pay $1.
Like, if I was somehow stoked enough, I would pay only $150. Because to be honest, at the end of the day, this thing is a peripheral. And yes, I understand that the tech in it can be extremely expensive, but then again, they wouldn't be selling it to us if they didn't believe that the tech was inexpensive enough where they could sell it to the average consumer. So yeah, I would say about $150, which I believe was the price of the Kinect when it first came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Except the Kinect was not as cool from a gaming perspective.
No, it was not.
As a research project, the Kinect is freaking amazing. As an actual gaming device, it's not good unless you're dancing.
Pretty much. Alright, so Jenny Smith, what's up, Jenny? I haven't heard from you in a while. The whole VR thing is we worried really if the controller doesn't become the joystick or it goes away in exchange for new technology. I don't think so. Too many people like games the way they are now, and that's kind of the way they've grown up, so I don't see... Man, Fox, you either really agree or disagree with that. Or which. But that's just my opinion on it.
What is this VR joystick?
Oh, no, it's like, she's talking about, like, the Oculus Rift and stuff like it.
Oh, well, then I hope I don't accidentally kick my coffee table and bust my foot and the table itself in the process. To be honest, though, they could give us VR gloves and feet, but that would just create a safety hazard. So, yeah. Not to mention, like, if I were to run forward, I hope I don't run into the wall. or the fireplace, or the
The
kitchen.
way they solved it at conventions is they like put you in this circular thing, but
Yeah, that must be very inexpensive to own.
yeah,
You have to be
especially
like
if
a
you're
multimillionaire playboy to get one of those things.
Bruce Wayne.
Let's see. Yeah, the joystick
Well,
doesn't go away. I mean, Nintendo kind of like did the whole with the Wiimote and PlayStation Move,
yeah,
and that was cool for about 4 or 5 years, and then everyone just went back to conventional controls again.
yeah.
Apparently, it is still really hard to get rid of the joystick. It's a lot like trying to get rid of the steering wheel in your car, and instead steering it with a lever or a this weird setup thing. Like, yeah, it's kind of like getting rid of the steering wheel in the car. People aren't going to give up the joystick very easily.
Exactly. So anyway, that's that, I believe. Short show this week, everyone. Sorry, but that's all we had. Anthony, you got anything?
That's all I have for now.
All right. Well, this has been the Unscripted Access. I almost said the GameCraft Gamecast. We'll talk to you all next week.
All right. See ya.
Bye.